Acetaldehyde will answer, but benzaldehyde will not answer Pelling solution because it's an aromatic aldehyde. Now what is glucose? It is C6H12O6. The amount of the electrolyte required for flocculation will be less. The value of entropy of solar system should continuously increase. The pH of 10 to the power minus 8 molar HCl solution is option A 8, option B 6.9586, option C more than 8, option D slightly more than 7. Now if you see pH of 10 to the power minus 8 molar HCl solution, HCl is an acid, so the pH should be acidic. But what are the options they are giving us? 8, more than 8, slightly more than 7 and 6.95. So which is the correct answer? We know that practically, or just when I think HCl is an acid, it cannot have pH 8 or more than 8 or slightly more than 7 also. So it should be 6.9. Without calculation, I can just guess the answer. But how are we going to calculate and find out? I shall explain. Okay. So here we have to consider the H plus ion concentration from HCl as well as which we are getting from water. From HCl, I am going to get it as 10 to the power minus 8, and from water, if I consider the H plus ion concentration, it is 10 to the power minus 7 at 298 Kelvin, isn't it? So I'll have to add up both of this. So total H plus ion concentration is 10 to the power minus 8 plus 10 to the power minus 7, in which 10 to the power minus 8 I'll take it as common outside. So it will be 1 plus 10, which will be equal to 11 into 10 to the power minus 8. So this is the H plus ion concentration. Now what will I do? I'll find out pH. pH is equal to negative logarithm of H plus ion. So it is negative log of 11 into 10 to the power minus 8. So here negative sign I'll keep as it is. It will become log of 11 plus minus 8 log 10 is 1. So we'll get this answer as, here minus into minus is plus, so it becomes 8 minus log of 11. So 8 minus 1 point, this is supposed to be like this. So before the decimal point we have two numbers, so the log value will be 1.11 under 0. We don't know what is log 11, but log 10 we know it as 1. So I'll just consider it to be 1, round off. So it is 8 minus 1.1 is 6.9. So option B should be right. Of course, this is not the correct method, but we do not have the logbook to know the direct log values, isn't it? So I am just taking the approximate nearest answer so that you will get the approximate correct value. Okay, so the answer is 6.9586. So I hope you understood how to solve this problem. Okay, next question. Which of the following is strongly acidic? Phenol, orthocresol, paranitrophenol or paracresol? Phenol is with OH group. Cresol is OH with CH3 group. Correct? So orthocresol and paracresol. Then I have paranitrophenol, OH group with NO2 group. Now which is the electron donating group and which is the electron withdrawing group? NO2 group is the electron withdrawing group. We know that if electron withdrawing group is there, it will increase the acidity, isn't it? So which is strongly acidic? It should be paranitrophenol because of electron withdrawing group which is present. If CH3 group is there, it is electron donating group, so it will decrease the acidity. isn't it? That's why this is the most acidic. Okay, so we'll see the next question. A group of atom can function as a ligand only when option A, it is a small molecule. Option B, it has a unshared electron pair. Option C, it is a negatively charged ion. Option D, it is a positively charged ion. So what is the criteria, main criteria for an atom to behave like a ligand? There should be a unshared pair of electron which it should be able to donate, isn't it? So option B is the right answer. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is not a colligative property? What is it? Not a colligative property. We'll see the option. Elevation in boiling point, it's a colligative property. Depression in freezing point, again it's a colligative property. Osmotic pressure, even this is a colligative property. Lowering of vapor pressure, again it's a colligative property. All four are colligative property. Of course, here it should be very clear that relative lowering of vapor pressure, but pressure will get lowered, but lowering of vapor pressure is also a colligative property. Thus, here we do not have a correct answer to tick. It's a grace marks question. Okay. So, which is not a colligative property they have asked. All of them given here are colligative properties. Okay. We'll see the next question. Acetone and propanol are functional isomers, position isomers, geometrical isomers, optical isomers. So what is it? Acetone. It is CH3, C double bond O, CH3. Propanol. Okay. So it is CH3, CH2, C double bond OH. So propanol, CHO group is there. There's aldehyde group. And here it is ketone group which is present, but the number of carbon atoms 1 2 3 1 2 3 3 plus 3 6 hydrogen, 3 2 plus 1 6 hydrogen. Only functional group is varying. So which isomer is it? It is functional isomer. So option A is the correct answer, that is it is a functional isomer. Okay, next question. Which of the following is diamagnetic? Hydrogen with a positive charge. It has got only one electron left. So obviously it is paramagnetic. Next we have helium with a positive charge. So we have 4 electrons in helium molecule. But then one is lost. That's why it has got a positive charge. So we have only 3 electrons left. 2 will go for bonding. For bonding, 2 electrons. For anti-bonding, 1 electron. So again there is one unpaired electron. It will become paramagnetic. Okay. Now oxygen, if I consider O2, that is 16 electrons it has got and it is paramagnetic. Last one is nitrogen. Nitrogen has got 14 electrons and only this one is diamagnetic. Remember, if the number of electrons are even number, what is it? It's an even number other than 16 and 10. This is an exception. Even if it is an even number, it is paramagnetic. Okay. Rest all the other even numbers, it will be diamagnetic. If it is odd number, it will be paramagnetic. Odd number, paramagnetic, plus 16 and 10 electrons if the molecule has got, that also is paramagnetic. If it is odd number, then it will be paramagnetic. Along with that, which you have to include with odd numbers 16 and 10 electrons, which is even number but still it is paramagnetic. Otherwise any even number it is diamagnetic. So 14 electrons is diamagnetic. So nitrogen is the correct answer. Okay, because they are asking us which of the following is diamagnetic. Even number you have to see. Okay, next question. 3 grams of urea is dissolved in 45 grams of water. The relative lowering of vapor pressure is. For relative lowering of vapor pressure, I can write the formula as P naught minus P by P naught, which is equal to mole fraction of the solute. So I will write it as P naught minus P by P naught is equal to N2 by N1 plus N2. So number of moles of solute by number of moles of solute plus solvent we have to do. So what is the solute? Urea. So how to find the number of moles? N2 is equal to mass by molecular mass. Mass of urea is 3, molecular mass is 60. So this you will get it as 0.05. Then number of moles of water, that is the solvent or solution I have to take. Mass is 45, molecular mass of water is 18, so I'll get it as 2.5. Okay, so we have got now N2 and N1 value. I'll have to substitute and find the answer. So here it will be 0.05 divided by 0.05 plus 2.5. So it will be 0.05 divided by 2.55, which is equal to 0.019 something you will get, that's approximately 0.02. So the answer is option C, where it is 0.02. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Next question. The reagent to distinguish between acetaldehyde and benzaldehyde is Tollens reagent, Fehling solution, 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine, semicarbazide. So, which is the reagent which can distinguish between acetaldehyde and benzaldehyde? Both are aldehydes, but one is aliphatic, one is aromatic. Okay. So, which is the reagent which we can use? Tollens reagent, both will answer. Even 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine, both will answer. Semicarbazide also, both will answer. So it should be Fehling solution in which only acetaldehyde will answer, but benzaldehyde will not answer Fehling solution because it's an aromatic aldehyde. And also Fehling solution is a weaker oxidizing agent. It's weaker than Tollens reagent. Thus, it will not oxidize benzaldehyde as there is a benzene ring in it. Okay. So, Fehling solution is the test which distinguishes between acetaldehyde and benzaldehyde. Okay. Next question. Metallic luster is due to. Metallic luster andre shine. Metal shines because of what? High density of metal, high polish on the surface of the metal, reflection of light by mobile electrons, chemical inertness of metal. It is option C which is right. It is because of reflection of light by mobile electrons, because we know that in metals it has got metallic bond which we call it as electron C model. It looks like the cations, that is the metal ions, are dipped in sea of electrons, and these electrons are mobile. When the light falls on that, there will be reflection because of these electrons. That's why metal will shine. Okay, so option C is the correct answer. Next one. Which of the following aqueous solution will exhibit highest boiling point? The boiling point will go on increasing as the number of solute particles will go on increasing. Correct? No? That is, there is elevation in boiling point when the solute particles are added to any of the solvent to form a solution. Correct? So, we will see which one of them will undergo dissociation and I value will be higher. So, we will see option 1, 0.01 molar urea. Urea will not undergo dissociation at all. So, it is just 0.01 molar urea. Next, we have 0.01 molar KNO3. Potassium nitrate will give 2 ions. So, I value is equal to 2 here. Okay. Next one is 0.01 molar Na2SO4. Here 2 sodium ions and 1 sulfate ion. So, I will be equal to 3. And next we have 0.015 molar C6H12O6. This will not undergo dissociation at all. So, where the I value is highest, that is for Na2, SO4. So option C is the right answer. Because the number of particles are more, the boiling point also will be highest. It would have increased, isn't it? Thus, option C is the correct answer. Okay. Next question. Which one of the following gives amine on heating with amide? That is option A, bromine in aqueous KOH, B, bromine in alcoholic KOH, chlorine in sodium, sodium in ether. So, we have to take an amide, heat it with one of them, you will get an amine. It is Hoffman's bromamide degradation reaction. That is, with bromine with KOH. So it can be alcoholic or aqueous KOH, but totally we should have bromine in KOH and amide to give an amine. You can get aniline also from here, or you can get any primary amine. Okay, so both are correct. Option A as well as option B. We require bromine with KOH. Okay. So we'll see the next question, 52. The number of antibonding electron present in O2 minus molecular ion is. Here O2 minus, you have O2 with one extra electron. So it is 16 plus 1, you have 17 electrons. Correct? So I shall start with sigma 1s2, then it is sigma star 1s2, then I have sigma 2s2, sigma star 2s2, then I have sigma 2pz2, then I have pi 2px2, which is equal to pi 2py2. Okay, then we have pi star 2px1, which is equal to pi star 2py1. This is for oxygen molecule O2. Okay, you can see 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. But it is O2 minus. I can consider here it is paired up and this has become 2. And you have one unpaired electron in pi star 2py. Okay, because here it has got equal energy. First it has to be singly occupied, then it has to pair up. Now they are asking us, the question is the number of antibonding electrons present. So antibonding andre star nodbekili. 2, 4, 6 plus 1, 7. So 7 electrons. See my options. Option A 8, option B 6, option 5 C is 5 and option D is 4. Do I have that option 7? No. So this is a grace marks question. Okay, as I do not have the correct answer in my options, I should take it as grace marks. Fine? Okay. So next question. The process is spontaneous at the given temperature if delta H is positive and delta S is negative, delta H is negative and delta S is positive, delta H is positive and delta S also is positive, delta H is positive and delta S is equal to 0. Here we know that if delta G is a negative value, it's a spontaneous reaction. Correct? And what is the formula? Delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. So if delta H is negative and if delta S is positive, plus into minus is minus only, then pakka you are going to get always a negative value irrespective of what the temperature is, isn't it? Thus, we have to see where delta H is negative and delta S is positive. So which option will give us that one? Delta H is negative and delta S is positive. Option B is right answer. Next question. Glucose when reduced with HI and red phosphorus gives N-hexane, N-heptane, N-pentane, N-octane. Now what is glucose? It is C6H12O6. So when it is reacting with HI, that is hydrogen iodide in and red phosphorus, it will give an alkane. But which alkane it will give? As it contains 6 carbon atoms, which alkane it should give? It should give hexane, and all the carbon atoms are in the single chain, so it gives N-hexane. So the answer is option A, that is N-hexane. Okay, so we'll see the next question. The stability of lyophobic colloid is due to option A, adsorption of covalent molecules on the colloid, option B, the size of the particle, option C, the charge on the particle, option D, Tyndall effect. Now lyophobic colloid, when does it become stable? If you see the option, it is not because of adsorption of covalent molecule. It cannot adsorb actually covalent molecule, so this is wrong. The size of the particle, no, size of the particle is not contributing to the stability, so that is wrong. Tyndall effect is obviously wrong because it's a property of a colloid, isn't it? So it should be the charge on the particle. So option C is the correct answer. Okay, next question. Oils are liquids at room temperature since they contain higher percentage of oleates, palmitates, stearates and myristates. It is because of presence of oleates, it is liquid at room temperature. Okay, so this is a fact which you need to know. Next question. Which of the following cation will have minimum flocculation value for arsenic sulfide salt? Na plus, Mg plus 2, Ca plus 2, Al plus 3. So here, if we look into the options, we have Na plus 1 charge, then we have Mg plus 2 and Ca plus 2 and Al plus 3. Higher the charge, the amount of the electrolyte required for flocculation will be less, isn't it? Thus, which will be required in a very small quantity for the flocculation or for precipitation to occur? That is the one with Al plus 3. Thus, the answer is Al plus 3. So, I hope you have understood. Next question. Next question. The value of entropy of solar system is option A increasing, option B decreasing, option C constant, option D 0. What is second law of thermodynamics? Entropy of the universe is continuously increasing. So what is it? The value of entropy of solar system should continuously increase. So option A is the correct answer. It is second law of thermodynamics. Next one. In face-centered cubic lattice, a unit cell is shared equally by how many unit cell? So what is the question? In a face-centered cubic lattice, one unit cell is shared equally by how many unit cells? One unit cell is shared by how many unit cells? It can be face-centered or it can be BCC or it can be any cubic unit cell. It is shared by 8 other unit cells, isn't it? So the answer is option D, that is 8. We'll see the next question, the last question. The number of disulfide linkage present in insulin are option A 4, option B 3, option C 2, option D 1. Insulin is made up of 2 chains. A chain, that is the first chain, has got 21 amino acids and B chain has got 30 amino acids. Between the A chain and B chain, there are 2 disulfide linkages, and in A chain, within the A chain only, there is 1 disulfide linkage. So they are asking the number of disulfide linkage present in insulin. Totally how much is present? It is 3. So option B is the correct answer. Okay. So I hope you have understood all the 60 questions of Karnataka CET 2013 question paper. Thank you, my dear children. Stay focused, stay tuned.